Hey everyone, how are we today? It's that time of month we're doing the shadow work readings for the full moon. So, giving you an opportunity to look at the darker sides of yourself in order to integrate them more fully into who you are moving forward, giving yourself opportunities to grow and expand yourself. Okay, so uh, do make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do really appreciate that. It really does help out the channel, and it definitely makes sure that all your energies and the energies around you specifically are accommodated for through the collective readings. Helps you stay up to date with all the regular readings like this one, the monthly shadow work reading. I do that every single full moon. All right, as well as, weekly update readings and, a whole range of other ones as well. So definitely check out the channel and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what signs you're watching for, how the messages resonated for you, and all those sorts of things. Any specific topics you would like to see readings on, I'm more than happy to take all that into consideration. Timestamps always in the description box, along with all my contact information if you're wanting to book a personal reading. Follow that Ko-Fi link. That's the same link for donations as well. I do appreciate those. So thank you everybody who has supported the channel already. But this week this full moon, we will be starting with Sagittarius and working our way on through, as it is a full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so a little bit about the full moon. We do see, like I said, a full moon in Sagittarius. This is the once in a blue moon, all right, because it is the second full moon in a month. It is also a micro moon, so if you're looking at that in the sky, it may appear very, very small compared to other times of the year. You won't actually see it's not actually blue. They just call it, a blue moon because it's, the once in a blue moon kind of thing. It doesn't happen all that often. It's not a regular occurrence for two full moons to happen in the same month. All right. The first full moon this month was at the very start of May, and that was in Scorpio. This particular one in Sagittarius during Gemini season, of course. This is all about, themes of completion and release. So especially for those of you who have noticed that, there's been a lot of things going on since that Scorpio full moon at the start of the month. This is the opportunity where it all sort of comes to, it all culminates and it's able to be released. It points out the pieces of the puzzle that we've been missing. So it's the universe pushing us to take a big leap of faith, stay curious and look at the bigger picture. So a lot of clarity and knowledge, especially reflecting on what you do and don't already know and what you need or want to learn. So it's opening yourself to the new energies, the new ways to move through your life, stepping back to consider that bigger picture. So therefore, the lessons in perspective. It can mark a significant rebirth in your life, making permanent changes, like a reinvention, challenging your old ways of thinking, launching into new things, and, committing to new paths. So especially with the Sagittarius energy here, there is a pull to adventure and travel as well as outdoors time. It's that very sort of outdoorsy energy, travel energy. So a lot of you may be just really feeling the need to get out and do something over this full moon, maybe wanting to travel or seeking adventures, letting out what's been building up within you. So for some of you, it's going to be, expressing yourself and speaking your truth. Conquering the fears of the unknown and breaking free from routines. Important there as well. The signs most affected, we do have Gemini, Sagittarius, of course, as well as Virgo and Pisces, pulling the main energy of this full moon. I do apologize in advance for any sniffling. Pardon, bless you, Michelle. And sneezing was what I was about to say. My allergies are really severe today, for some particular reason. I have had my allergy medication and I'm still sneezing like crazy. So there may be some, odd little cuts in the video here and there, as I do need to sort of stop and have a bit of a sneezing fit. But we are using the Heal Yourself reading cards today, as well as the Red Hand Lenormand. All right, so we will sort of get into it, and we will start off today with Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. What does Sagittarius need to know for their shadow work this month? The theme of the month for Sagittarius's shadow work, please. What does Sagittarius need to look at in regard to shadow work? Okay. Family and tribe, Sagittarius. So connection and looking at, how you do, maintain relationships. It's once again looking at the bigger picture for you here, but family and tribe issues definitely at the surface for you when it comes to the shadow work stuff. And it does say family and tribe because this covers multitude of things. It's not just your immediate blood family. It's the chosen family that we have in our life, the more expansive friends and family, that support you on the day-to-day basis. It can also reference, your cultural community and support in that sense as well. But we'll have a look here with the Lenormand and go into a little bit more detail about your shadow work for the month. Sagittarius. What does Sagittarius need to know in regard to shadow work this month, please? Not going to lie, Sagittarius, this is one of the lighter shadow work periods throughout the year. The full moon in Sagittarius does tend to be a relatively, easy one on our darker selves. But we do see definitely some issues here for you. Starting off, we see the chains coming through, as well as the mirror. All right, so with the chains coming through firstly here, we do really feel the pressure, of family, especially of of the things that you're, the people that you're committed to. So this, for a lot of you Sagittarius, this would have to do with responsibility and the burden of responsibility when it comes to family duties, or especially when I'm getting that cultural energy, definitely getting that cultural energy coming through strongly here for a lot of you too, that it's kind of like, well, this is the way we do things, this is the way the family tradition is. And and like I said, when I'm saying family, it could also just be your chosen family, your greatest support network in some sense there as well. But you're kind of feeling the burdens, the responsibilities, feeling as though you are, it feels like obligation. All right, obligation. The chains talks about feeling as though you have no choice in your responsibilities to this, that you are sort of chained to these people because of circumstance, or blood ties, or tradition, or whatever that may be for you personally. So this is the opportunity this month for you to really look at the bigger picture of why you're feeling so chained to these commitments and responsibilities and duties here. Are these commitments you're making by choice, or are these commitments that you are feeling, weighed down by, that you are feeling that you can't escape for whatever reason that might be here? So it really is asking you to have a little bit of a look at the way we chain ourselves to others, and how those relationships dictate how we evolve within ourselves and within society, within community, all those sorts of things. Because I do feel that for a lot of you, there's this huge responsibilities that have been placed on your shoulders. And for a lot of you, it's along the lines of tradition. All right. So I am picking up very strongly on, the examples of especially gender roles are coming through strongly here as well. So, the family belief system that men must be like this, women must be like that. Even for some of you, there may even be an issue with just the gender roles in specific that, that very closed-minded belief system that there is only two genders, so I'm getting that may be chaining a lot of you down in that particular sense as well, that maybe there's not an ability for you to be anything other than what you're told to be. So I am kind of picking up on that strongly for a couple of you here, but there does feel to be a lot of cultural significance connections for a lot of you when it comes to these chains, that you have to do things a certain way because that's the way you're told to. That's the way your culture deals with this, or that's the belief system of your culture or religion, and that's the family tradition. You can't escape this kind of thing. So it's asking you to sort of step back and look at the bigger picture as to the areas in your life, especially with family commitments and family responsibilities, where you are feeling very weighed down, very I can't escape kind of energy. Because, especially with that mirror here, there does seem to be this energy of, looking yourself in the mirror and sort of saying, is this my belief system, or is this a belief system that I'm being forced into? There's also the energy of personal responsibility, where you're kind of like, I do feel as though this is a questioning time for a lot of you, to sort of ask yourself, am I being true to myself by taking care of these responsibilities, by allowing myself to stay committed to these duties? Is that following my own truth, or is that following the truth that I'm told? So there definitely does seem to be a lot of that coming on for you at the moment, as well as aspects of like, looking in the mirror to see, who really am I? And looking, stepping back and taking a look at the bigger picture of who you actually are within your own life. Are you like, because I just keep getting the same sorts of energies of like, are you even your own person, or are you just a toy, just a tool for others to use as they will, in this sense of family commitments and responsibilities that you have to others? Do you even have your own choices? So definitely a bit of a deep one there for you. So I do feel that this definitely could be a significant realignment, reinvention of yourself, a time to, launch into new things for yourself, for your own path. Lessons in perspective, stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of your life here, and really asking yourself what you actually want to learn. And, I feel like for some of you, there's an element here of asking yourself, and who can show me the way, and who can lead me to learn how to do this? So there may be a really strong mentor around your energy at the moment as well, Sagittarius. It's like you're finally letting out, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror, you're finally letting out the truth of who you really are, and that you do feel overcommitted, that you can't escape your life. But if you can't escape your life, it's not yours, is kind of the message that's wanting to come through. I do have the star here as well, Sagittarius. So that really asks us to, while we're looking deep in the mirror at ourselves, we're needing to really ask ourselves, what are our goals? What are the things that I actually desire in this world? Not the things that I feel like I have to desire, but the things that I myself truly desire and want for myself. What are my goals, my wishes, my dreams? All right. And I feel like for you here, Sagittarius, it's not really talking about, needing to take any action other than expressing your own truth. And for a lot of you, that's just to you yourself. You're just kind of admitting it to yourself. You're stepping back and looking at yourself, through a little bit more of an objective perspective here, and starting to sort of see that the goals and the wishes that you have for yourself are seemingly in stark contrast to the things that you feel chained to, and the commitments that you have chained yourself to. So rather than asking, how can I break free from these chains? I feel like this is just about acceptance and forgiveness to yourself for being there in the first place. And then you can sort of move on from there. But, it's all about needing to really be very honest with yourself and express yourself truthfully to yourself, um, before you can take the next steps. All right. So your shadow work is really just wanting you to look at these issues in the grander kind of scale and how they are truly affecting you, being able to follow your heart to start with, and how you're being sort of chained to certain ideals or belief systems. So especially for those of you where this is cultural systems, that does seem to be significant here. Um, that cultural instances do seem to be significant here, but you can't work out where to go next without being very honest and accepting where you are. So that's kind of what this full moon is asking for your clarity on, is to just be very, clear with yourself about this, how the situation actually is. Not, it's like you're conquering your biggest fear by no longer hiding from this and letting it slide with your personal self. You're standing up and seeing things as they truly are in your life. Okay, so that's what we're seeing for you, Sagittarius. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course, especially moon signs being the full moon period here. But make sure you subscribe, like I said, and we will check out what's going on for our Capricorns. Okay, Capricorn, shadow work energy for our Capricorns. Okay, what does Capricorn need to know in regard to shadow work? Theme of Capricorn's shadow work, please. Oh, soulmate, Capricorn. And, when people say soulmate, Capricorn, the automatic assumption for majority of people is jumping to love soulmates. But this could actually be multiple soulmate energies in your life, all right? Because there is just something about this full moon where there is reflective energy here, looking back through, what have we learnt and what do we still need to learn. And the theme of this full moon shadow work period does appear to be soulmate energy for you, and those connections that you've had in your life that have had deeper connection than just real world connection. All right. And I feel like a lot of you kind of already know exactly what I'm talking about. Capricorn, you are very in tune with the deeper layer of the world. But I do feel the need to specify that we're also looking at friends who are soulmates, family soulmates, those sorts of things. All right. And so there is quite, and depending on your particular belief system, there can be a lot of different types of soulmate energies. All right. So for the purpose of this, we're going to just look at people who are destined to be in your life, soulmate in general. All right. We're not going to we're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of if this is a karmic soulmate, if this is a twin flame soulmate, if this is a platonic soulmate, if this is a past life soulmate. You know, there is a lot of different ones, all right? And, you know, I'll leave that to you to, you know, follow your own belief system on that. That is totally fine. I'm happy to talk about my personal belief system on that, you know, but because I know that certain types of soulmates does get a bad rap, especially the twin flame soulmate bond. You know, it does get a bad rap, but that the bad rap is connected specifically to the twin flame religion. Okay, so I just want to clarify that I do not f with that. Okay, that is not what I'm talking about on this channel. All right, that some of you might have seen the Netflix documentary or heard a little bit about that already, but I'm not talking about that. Twin flames are a very old belief system. You know, that two souls split into two. That's what I mean when I say twin flame. I just feel the need to clarify that. Okay. If you do want me to talk about that a little bit more, let me know. And, you know, I'm happy to talk about that. You know, we can, I've been meaning to do a reading, well, not a reading, but like a video talking a little bit more about lenormand and the way that I read and all those sorts of things. So if you would like to know a little bit more about my personal belief systems when it comes to, you know, whether it's religion or twin flames or soulmate energies or whatever, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do so. Like I said, I've already kind of been considering that anyway. But I do feel for you here, Capricorn, that there is something about platonic soulmates seems to be significant in this energy as well as love. You know, I am picking up on love energy, but I'm also picking up on that platonic energy strongly. So, you know, and something that you may hear me say at times is, you know, we have different types of soulmates. Some are for a reason, some are for a season, and some are for forever. All right, so like I said, we are looking and we're taking into account all types of soulmates at this stage. All right. Yes, even animal soulmates. I will even take animal soulmates into consideration for this. Capricorn. Sorry for all the sniffling. Capricorn, what does Capricorn need to know in regard to their shadow work, please? Shadow work for Capricorn energy this month. So yeah, I'm still getting both energies here, the platonic and the love. The love's definitely coming through as well. So is another sneeze, but on the bottom of the deck we have the cross. So a lot of spiritual energy, of course, with Capricorn. Oh my goodness, like just give me a second, Capricorn. Okay, sorry, Capricorn. Just having a sneezing fit. I'm fine, guys. But yeah, so we are seeing platonic and love energy here. So, you know, we do have the anchor coming through first, followed by the moon, and then we do also have the masculine here as well. All right, so we definitely do see you know, a couple of different things coming through here, Capricorn. So with the moon and the masculine, we definitely kind of see a little bit of a fight going on here between head and heart. The masculine is very sort of non-emotional, whereas the moon is very, very emotional, very trust my instincts, follow my heart, very allowing my emotions to take over, whereas the masculine is no, emotions can't come to the surface at all. I have to be logical, I have to be rational, I have to think things through. So we definitely do see balance coming to that side of you. That is sort of, you know, the balance coming to those things, you know, with the anchor there anyway. But, you know, I do also feel that for a lot of you, this is like, your intuition guiding you towards, because the masculine can be a person as well, regardless of gender, okay? Because when I do read the person I'm reading for, you would be the feminine card. If it was talking about you yourself, the masculine does tend to talk about someone else around you. So probably this soulmate that is of significance here. I am picking up that for a lot of you that we do have more than one soulmate here. Like I am picking up a friendship soulmate as well as a um, love soulmate. So, for those of you where this is a love soulmate, this is intuition guiding you to this person, dragging, feeling magnetized towards this person, some sort of security and stability and dependability needing to be balanced here between the two of you. There's an energy of learning about what makes you feel safe to move forward with your intuition and certain triggers emotionally affecting you here as well. So I'm just getting an influx of messages coming through, and it's kind of, I think it's because this moon energy is quite strong, and it's triggering your emotions, but it's kind of like triggering your emotions, but it's also dragging you out to sea at the same time, and you are like grabbing for this anchor, like trying to find something to hold you steady and stop you from drifting away in the sea here. And it feels like for a lot of you that this person is the reason that you're going through such an influx here of emotion, or have gone through such an influx. But it seems to be this is the time where you're stabilizing this energy within yourself. I just keep getting that energy of this anchor talking about this is where you're finding that safety and security and dependability, and you're able to stabilize yourself with the push and the pull here, with that trying to be dragged out, but nope, I've got my anchor. I can't get dragged out too far, that I'm on I've got that thing to hold me safe when I need to put it down. But you're still, with the moon here, you're still allowing yourself to get dragged in a little bit here as well, because that is pulling on your emotions, and it is sort of your intuition guiding you heavily here as well to a specific person, to specific people. All right, so I do feel for a lot of you, this is the time when you're looking at the relationships around you, Capricorn, and you are starting to sort of understand the things that make you feel stable in these soulmate relationships that you already have existing in your life. Because I do feel that for a lot of you, you already have a platonic soulmate in your life, that or you have had soulmates in your life, and there's something here about reflecting upon past soulmates, and the significant contributions that they've made to your life. So the reasons and the seasons and the meanings that these people have been in your life, and you're linking that up to being able to see. You're looking back at it's the biggest perspective stuff, like we talked at the intro there. It's the bigger picture. You're seeing the bigger picture, and you're starting to understand, well, this soulmate was in my life for this reason. This soulmate is in my life for that reason. You're starting to understand why current and future soulmates are in your life. And you're starting to, see the bigger picture, get a lot of clarity about that, understand how to keep yourself safe and steady, and not feel like you're being sucked under with the soulmate energy, especially the one that feels like it's drawing you under a lot here, sucking you under a lot, is the love stuff, for sure. The love soulmate. There does seem to be, I even would err on the edge of saying twin flame stuff for a lot of you, Capricorn, because of how strong the pull is, and the drag under is feeling here. So for some reason, that analogy is very prominent in this energy here as well, that being pulled out to sea and being dragged under, all right, the water by this soulmate. But you're now catching yourself before you're getting dragged under. You're steadying yourself before you get dragged under. You're you're seeing reason, before you're allowing your emotions to take control too much. You're able to now balance that out with logic and rational thinking as well. So you're not allowing yes, you may still be allowing your heart to lead the way, but this is kind of where you're finding another path where your heart can still lead the way, but this time around it's taking into consideration logic, rational, what's going to work in the material world, not just what your heart is like. Ooh, follow the pretty light, follow the pretty mermaid. You're actually like, hang on, mermaids drag people under the water. I better be careful here, there is a lot more balance coming in for you with this full moon, especially when it comes to soulmate energies here. For a lot of you, this is letting out what's been building within you, expressing yourself, conquering your fears of the unknown, breaking free from the routines. So breaking free from the pattern that hasn't been steady in the past. All right. And, considering new ways to move through life in a more balanced, steady way rather than the push-pull. All right. But I am picking up for some of you, this is more connected to, looking at the patterns and the past soulmates, when it comes to, that friend that you knew was a soulmate and they were in your life for a reason and you were very drawn to them, that love interest that you thought was a soulmate and you were very drawn to them, as to how to decipher this moving forward as well. All right. So you're going to be seeing the bigger picture here, gaining a lot more clarity about this whole, it's the whole topic of soulmates. All right. Because like I said, it's friendships, but it's also love. So you're gaining a lot more clarity here, about what things mean to you, and the people, I'm just getting something here too about important qualities in these soulmates that need to be like noted, that, okay, I'm very drawn to these people, but what are the important qualities that enabled me, and that person to not only be soulmates, but also enabled them to help me grow and learn? What are the qualities that they had that enabled me to grow and learn? And then, making sure that I'm looking for those qualities in current and future soulmate energies as well, to in order to, you know, we're rebalancing, we're finding security and stability, in the soulmate energy. All right, so I hope that makes sense, Capricorn. But that's what we're seeing for you. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, especially your moon placement being the full moon reading. And we will move on over to Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, what's going on for Aquarius with shadow work at this month, please? What does Aquarius need to know in regard to shadow work, please? Theme of Aquarius's shadow work. Ooh, beauty. I'm actually getting a very interesting message here. The phrase I'm being given is, because normally when you see the theme of beauty, all right, you would talk about certain phrases like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, beauty is, this, beauty is that. The phrase that it's coming through is that there's something about the beauty of decay that is prominent here. The beauty of decay, Aquarius. So that which is dead or dying, long dead or dying, decaying, that which has gone and is no longer. I am getting messages about this being relevant to, the way that things have decayed in the past. Once again, looking at the bigger picture, the theme of looking into the bigger picture of things this month is very strong with the shadow work reading this month. Looking at the bigger picture and stepping back and looking at things, and reflecting a lot upon the past and stuff is definitely coming here through for you as well, Aquarius. It's looking at the things that are that have decayed and the way in which things have decayed in your life. So it's telling me, it's talking about things like friendships that, rather than a sudden end or something happening that ended that friendship, it's the slow fade out, the slow decay, for some of you, rotted from the inside is coming through here as well. But, the way that certain relationships have done that in your life, certain things have they've not just ended dramatically, it's been like a process of decay, like steps of decay rather than a prominent ending. So those things, of course, are going to be slightly different for each and every one of you, but that's what it's talking about, is those things that have been removed from your life through a process rather than a sudden breaking of those relationships or energies from your life. Let's have a look and get a bit of clarity here. But it's like the beauty of those things, because it's like the beauty of it, and you're looking back and you're kind of going like, oh, it's actually really good, that it worked out that way instead of dramatic. You're seeing some sort of beauty in it, that it's like, well, it did the job by itself. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to, because I feel as though when those processes have started, have been when you have been at this stage where you've been about to dramatically end it. And then you're kind of looking back going, oh, look, I didn't even have to do it. It slowly over time withered away by itself, and I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to, expend my energy or my emotion in order to do that. So it's kind of beautiful the way things worked out. It's kind of synchronous, it's coming through as like things just falling into place exactly how they had to, and that's what you're seeing the beauty of, the way that things sort of just happened exactly how they were supposed to, how they were destined to, without you kind of even having to come in and be like rah, and make that change yourself. Aquarius, shadow work messages for Aquarius, please. Sorry, getting hair stuck in the cards. Aquarius, what does Aquarius need to know in regard to their shadow work, please? That just scared me. There was a loud motorbike then. It just made me jump. Yeah, it's definitely that synchronicity kind of energy, because you're kind of telling me here, we have the anchor and then the garden coming through first, that you're kind of like that, every time I felt stuck, and you're this, okay, so this is the beauty that you're really, really flagging out to yourself. It's a specific kind of energy here. It's like every time I felt stuck, I went to an event or I met someone. We have the heart here as well. So every time I got to that point where, I felt stuck in a relationship, or I felt like I needed a relationship to come to an end, I went to, like I met love. So so it's kind of that energy of like, every time you met somebody new, the old one faded out naturally. But I'm not just talking about love here, because I feel like for a lot of you, this is like, every time you met a new partner, certain friends would just disappear, or every time you met a new friend, one of the old friends that was no longer serving your highest good disappeared, just faded out into the distance of no active doing, It's like, and it's talking about you meeting people with love, and that also created some of this fade out. That every time you met somebody, you tried to meet somebody halfway with love, and you were like, oh, come and meet up with me, and you were trying to, what's the phrase? Give them benefit of the doubt. They would just cancel and they would never show up, and it just kind of happened. They faded out. So it was very synchronous that every time the more love that you put into the situations, the more it just happened by itself without you having to actually put anything other than love into the situation. It's a very interesting message I'm getting here. Every time something felt stuck, you tried to approach it and meet it halfway with love, and that's when it decayed. And you're kind of sitting back here now realizing that, look at the beauty in that every time I went to share my love and expend my love energy, it naturally ended the things in my life that weren't serving my highest good, that weren't, showing me love in return. So it's actually quite beautiful in the sense that this has just happened naturally by you just being loving and loving yourself. It's like every time you found love for yourself, you would notice that certain relationships or things in your life would die away. And you're now seeing the beauty in that they were no good for me anyway. So they were trying to stop me from loving myself. So of course they're going to die away when I start to love myself. So this really just seems to be a very strong reflection period for you, Aquarius, where you're just kind of just noticing this pattern and just looking back and seeing the beauty in that and appreciating the beauty within yourself. Especially when it comes to, love for yourself, you're just appreciating that the love that you've had for yourself and have for yourself, just naturally, it's like it repels the things in your life that aren't good for you. You just have this natural energy about your heart space that your love, and the more that you're sharing love with the world and yourself and others around you, the more that it's repelling the things that aren't worthy of that love. And there is definitely a beauty in that. And looking back at the decay and how the decay has formed in the past, it's like it's a protection. This feels like a protection. Your love has protected you from sudden violent deaths. It's allowed things to just decay naturally, and keep you protected through those. So yeah, very, very interesting message, Aquarius. I'm not going to lie, this full moon is bringing around some very deep messages that are unexpected as well. So very interesting. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Pisces. Okay, just double checking. I've got the time there because my son will be home shortly. All right, Pisces. Pisces, shadow work messages for our Pisces. Pisces, you are one of the signs that will be a little bit stronger affected by this particular full moon, but no need to worry. This particular full moon is actually one of the lighter ones throughout the year. So, you know, hopefully nothing too crazy or daunting comes up here. But Pisces, theme of this month's shadow work for our Pisces, please. Entrapment. Entrapment, Pisces. This always brings to light, what's that called, where I can never remember the name of it, where, you know, someone gets kidnapped and then the kidnapper gaslights them so much that they start to, like, love their kidnapper and want to be kidnapped. Does that make sense? Is it Munchausen's or something like that? I don't know. Entrapment. That's what this always brings to mind here, that it's like, especially too, like you can kind of see in the image here, we've got the woman laying on the bed there, and then we've got this masked man at the back with the big, like, it's like a rod. So he's like, it's kind of like, it's definitely a kidnapping kind of energy for some reason, but it's like falling into the trap. You know, you've fallen into a trap here, Pisces. For some of you, it's kind of you've fallen into the trap of giving up, wants to be said. Like of, you know, resting. Because see how she's laying there and she's just like, whatever. I feel like this is what this is for some of you here. It's resting on your laurels. You're not pushing yourself. You're not taking chances and risks, and you're not trying. Kind of just fallen into this trap of languishing. All right, Pisces, let's have a look at what that actually means. Pisces, shadow work messages for Pisces, please. What does Pisces need to know in regard to shadow work? I feel like what I just said is where we're going definitely with this, Pisces. We start off here with the clouds and then the fox. All right, so and then we do have the city. All right, so the clouds is all about thinking, overthinking. It can talk about anxiety, depression, you know, allowing your negative thoughts to take over, only seeing the negatives as rather than looking for the positives. You know, with the clouds, it is very difficult to sometimes see the positive, you know, to find the silver lining in those clouds. Sometimes it is very difficult to see that. And the clouds sort of fog our vision and confuse us. But what seems to be confusing you here, Pisces, is the struggle to survive, you know, because this is what this entrapment card is doing, right? She's laying there because she's worked out that if I just lay here and put up with it, that's how I survive. I'm not trying to escape anymore because that gets me hurt. I'm not trying to, you know, do anything anymore. I'm just laying here and putting up with it, and just I'm trapped. I'm accepting that I'm trapped and I can't do anything about it. But she can. Like, you always can. There's always a way. But she's focused on survival, right? She's so focused on just surviving that she's not thinking about rising above survival anymore. And I feel as though that's what you're kind of entrapped in here. You're so trapped in your own thoughts. You're so trapped in the need to just survive and just to get through day by day by day by day, that you're forgetting that you need to escape the matrix, Pisces, that you need to try to rise above. So especially with the city here as well. The city is just keeping yourself so busy, focused on your thoughts and your survival. It's keeping yourself so distracted that you forget that there's anything other than the day to day. You forget that there is wants and needs and desires and wishes beyond that which is just your normal day to day mundane survival. Like, and it's kind of hard because, you know, the clouds and the fox here, they try to tell us that this is what I have to do. This is the smart game. This is the best way to play it. This is the smart thing to do. But without risk, you know, high risk, high reward, right? So without risk at all, there's no chance of reward. So that seems to be the issue here, Pisces, that it's really wanting you to look at the bigger picture and see the ways in which you have settled and the ways in which you're not fighting anymore. And why are you not fighting to escape anymore? You're needing to, you know, stop allowing yourself to get so distracted, stop allowing your thoughts to take over, and start trusting your heart. You know, all three of these cards talk about being up in your head. None of them are talking about following your heart. All right. If you were following your heart, you may actually be like have that desire to escape. So there's something here about really needing to stop and think about the ways in which you are trapped in not trying to level up, not trying to do more than you were yesterday, to be more than you were yesterday, the ways in which you're allowing yourself to stay trapped in your mind rather than allowing your heart to speak. All right. So this full moon is very likely going to bring this into some sort of clarity for you, Pisces, where you may actually want to delve into that a little bit more. And, you know, kind of this full moon definitely seems to be an awareness full moon where these things come into clarity and awareness. And it's that's the stage that we're needing to process right here and right now before we can, you know, I feel like the action comes after we need to, you know, look at the issues first and look at the bigger picture. And I feel like for a lot of you, the answers come straight away. Just, you know, the actions come, you know, straight away to you when you gain that clarity on the bigger picture here. So it's just a matter of getting to that point. All right, but that's what we're seeing for you, Pisces. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, especially your moon placement being the full moon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Aries. Okay, moving over to Aries. All right. Aries, what does Aries need to know in regard to their shadow work, please? Theme for Aries, shadow work this month. Aries, shadow work messages for you. Oh, interesting. We did already have this for Sagittarius. So some of you may find you have strong Sagittarius placements, or maybe connecting to a Sagittarius, or maybe it's just because Sagittarius is the strong energy for this full moon as well. But we do have the family and tribe card. All right, so, straight away, it is different to Sagittarius straight away. It's actually saying, where is home? What is home? What is family? What is your tribe? Who is your tribe? And obviously, when I'm saying family and tribe, a lot of the time we're not talking about blood family. Okay, we're talking about the chosen family. The you know, it can also talk about you know, your sense of community, your cultural family, all those sorts of things as well. But I am clearly hearing who is family, what is family. Um, and I'm also hearing the word disconnect, that there's some sort of disconnect here, um, whether that's because of stress or something else. But this is what's going to be under the sort of microscope for you throughout this full moon period. But we'll have a look, a little bit more info here. Aries, shadow work messages for Aries, please. What does Aries need to know in regard to shadow work? Okay, Aries. We're definitely seeing romance coming into play here as well. The bottom of the deck, we do have the card of teamwork, the beetle there. You know, teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? But it's so it does sort of have connotations here about you know, working together rather than working against each other. Um, for like a joint goal. That's definitely coming through here. We do see the rose coming through first. All right, so that does lean heavily towards romance and love. All right, it also does talk about things like, you know, because roses, they do have thorns. They do have thorns, and so in order for that to get to the beauty of that rose, you do need to get through the thorns as well. So it's kind of, and something about, you know, with family, that is kind of standard, that there's never going to be just a beautiful rose by itself, that there's always going to be these little thorns, these little things that, you know, prickle us the wrong way, or you know, little arguments or disagreements. You know, it's always the way between anyone, right, in this world. Not like we can't it's pretty much impossible to have the exact same you know, goals and dreams and opinions and whatnot as another person. Um, even, you know, even twins have disagreements, you know, so it's kind of stock standard there. But it really does talk about like there's something about romance for sure here, Aries, and I am getting the messages about like it's like waiting for that to bloom, or wanting that to bloom, or you know, something about, there's definitely something here about the longevity of romantic energy in your life, and that choosing your own family kind of energy, choosing your family, choosing what is your family, and adding the romance into that in some kind of a way. um so I do feel that for a lot of you, we're looking at issues around long-term partnerships. All right, definitely seems to be coming under the light here for a lot of you Aries, because the other two cards I've got here, I do have the Sun as well as the Lily. All right, and the Lily is the card of longevity. It is emotional intimacy. All right, so there's a lot of long-term thinking along with this, that, you know, the seed to create the rose, you know, it may take a while to bloom. You still need to get through those thorns, and it does require maintenance. Roses do require maintenance. They are a plant that requires maintenance, all right, in order to bloom so beautiful and pretty. All right, but I do feel that for a lot of you, you know, because you can see romantic energy in platonic relationships as well. Definitely. So for a couple of you, there might be this energy of, you know, needing to romance yourself, or romance, you know, in a non-sexual way, romance a friend or a family member, you know, because like it's about the maintenance. All right, the romancing is about maintenance. All right, about keeping that relationship blooming, keeping that relationship strong. All right, so you know, because the example it's telling me here is the fact that, you know, I'm actually taking my son to the movies tonight, so we're having a little, you know, date night. um bonding time where, you know, he wants to really watch this movie. It's a scary movie, Backrooms, if you know it, guys. But it's kind of like something that you're tending to the relationship, and you know, you can still take family members out on dates, and you know, have some nice one-on-one time where you're just spending time together. You know, that's what we're doing tonight, and you know, it's going to bring around a lot of happiness. It's focusing on making that relationship happy, and you know, finding clarity in the relationship, and the happiness that can be gained from that long term by the maintenance that it needs now. All right. So for a lot of you, there is this, you know, potential for happiness here that it's really just asking you to think about how can you do the maintenance for these relationships, for family and tribe energy around yourself. And for some of you, this is even just within your own self. All right. Because it's kind of like, you're kind of like, I am picking up strongly here on a specific Aries who's like telling themselves that they don't need family, they don't need tribe, that they're fine by themselves, that they're stronger by themselves. But you know, long term, that is not going to make you the happiest. And I feel like the clarity that you're gaining, the epiphanies that you're having throughout this full moon period are really bringing that to light for you, Aries, that maybe you need to actually, you know, do some maintenance, romance yourself a little bit when it comes to the idea of what family is or could be for you. All right. What home is, what is home? What could home be for you? And that's the maintenance that's needing to occur here, whether that's within yourself or within relationships in your life. You know, because we do need to be very vulnerable and open and honest with ourselves. This is showing kindness. This is, you know, following our morals, but also showing a lot of kindness to oneself, to those relationships, sharing emotional intimacy, not only that vulnerability with ourselves, but, you know, opening up and being honest with others about how we feel and what we want long term, you know, where we see this relationship growing, what we want that rose bush to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know, do you envision that looking like just a single rose every single year blooming, or you know, 10, 20 years from now, do you want that to be like a full blossoming rose bush, you know, full of beautiful, beautiful flowers? You know, do you want to do what you can to maintain this rose bush so that the thorns no longer affect the quality of flower? Does that make sense? Like, I feel like that makes sense to me, but I hope that that makes sense to you as well, Aries. But that's kind of what we're getting here. And it's really sort of looking at the bigger picture, especially with that lily here. It's really looking at the bigger picture of, you know, not just looking at ideas of family and ideas of what is home to you right now. And it's looking at what it could be and what you want it to be, you know, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, at the end of your life. What do you want to look back and say, oh, these are the people that I had around me. These were the people that made me feel safe and at home and loved. And, you know, these are the times I had romance in my life, and I put romance into my life. Needing to ask yourself those questions, and this full moon should really help clarify a lot of that for you. So you will sort of just, once you get the clarity that this full moon provides, you will kind of just know intuitively where to go from there. I feel for a lot of you, Aries. All right, so that's what we're seeing for you. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Check out your other placements, especially your moon sign being the full moon period here. And we will move on over to our Taurus. All right. Taurus, what's going on for Taurus through this full moon? Taurus, shadow work messages for Taurus. What is the theme of shadow work for Taurus this month, please? Self-love. I feel like we had that for you in yesterday. Was it yesterday? The day before's reading, Taurus. So if you haven't already watched that one, you may want to go back and check that one out. Issues around self-love were, I feel, coming up for you, Taurus. But we'll have a look at, so this full moon is bringing you into your own and focusing on yourself, this particular full moon, Taurus. Let's have a look with the lenormand as well. Taurus, shadow work messages for Taurus. And I'm sort of hearing specifically here, Taurus, this is about, what's the phrase? Sorry, I just checked my notes on the actual full moon itself. It's considering new ways to move through life. All right, so maybe taking a new path, a significant rebirth, or like launching into a new path in your life when it comes to the way that you love yourself. All right, Taurus, shadow work messages for our Taurus, please. Okay, so firstly we have the beetle followed by the scythe, which shows us that there is a sudden ending to this beetle energy. All right, so the beetle does talk about teamwork. It talks about relying on others. All right, so that's coming to a sudden, there's a sudden realization here that I can't rely on others and others' love for me to make me feel loved. I need to find that within my own self. And I need to make that change in a positive way for myself. All right. So this is a relatively straightforward message for you today, Taurus. It's talking about breaking free from the need to rely on the help and aid of others to love you, to show you love. It's about finding, making the change to find that for yourself. This may happen very suddenly, unexpectedly. For some of you, this full moon period may actually bring around something specifically where you are realizing that you can't rely, it's a break in codependency, a break in, relying on the team to love you rather than just yourself. So there definitely is a strong, for some of you, it's a specific moment that's coming here where you're realizing, oh, shoot, I need to stop relying on them for love. Stop relying on them telling me that I'm awesome, and I need to actually start believing that I'm awesome. So for some of you, it is a significant actual event or moment happening over this full moon period that is instigating this. Whereas for others of you, it's just this sort of clarity, epiphany moment within yourself. Just a change that you're making within yourself, a reinvention of sorts. All right. We do also have the book. So you're starting a brand new road, a brand new chapter for yourself here. It is a reinvention. You're learning. All right. This is learning. And what else did I have in that intro? There was because a Sagittarius energy is definitely about learning. So reflecting on what I don't already know about how to love myself and what I want to know in regard to learning how to love myself. All right. So, asking yourself, how can I learn how to love myself more? How can I, love myself without relying on others to love me? How can I learn that within myself for myself? All right. So it's a very introspective full moon for you. And it's kind of, taking personal responsibility for your self-love is what it's sort of boiling down to here for a lot of you. So for a lot of you, you may be doing the research involved, for some time when I see that book energy, a lot of the time I just want to say, just Google it. How do I love myself? And Google will at least send you in the right direction, right? And there's a lot of things to learn that you maybe, sometimes seem so simple that you maybe hadn't even considered. For others of you, this is more just about, this is like a brand new story in your life, a brand new chapter in your life that this full moon is instigating for you here, where you do start to, because it's kind of the change between saying I love myself and feeling it, feeling it on that deeper level that, hey, I actually do love myself. That's what the change that's instigating for you here, Taurus. It's the actual reality of it rather than just, oh yeah, I love myself. Oh yeah, I love this about myself. It's the actual feeling it, backing yourself up from your heart, Okay, so that's what we're seeing for you, Taurus. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Geminis. Okay, Gemini, what does Gemini need to know in regard to shadow work this month? Gemini, theme of your shadow work this month. Gemini, okay. We see take off your masks, Gemini. So there's like dishonesty with self is the main kind of message that's coming through here, Gemini, that this full moon is all about expressing your truth and, you know, being very clear about, you know, where in your life, well, in your case, where you're wearing a mask and, you know, not showing and expressing yourself clearly, in honesty, you know, that you're potentially hiding parts of yourself and hiding parts of your truth and your, you know, your true desires and the true things and directions that you wish to go. I feel like for a lot of you, this has got to do with, you know, where you actually want to be and where you want to go. It kind of is just picking that up for you here, that something about that you're wanting to commit to things in different ways. But you're kind of not being honest with yourself, firstly, about that. But potentially, you know, others in your life, or the way that you're living your life, you're not actually being true to what's in your heart. I'm just getting the example here of, like, it's something to do with work for a lot of you, that you're not displaying your true passion, that you're just sort of, you know, putting on this mask that, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll do that, you know, but it's not actually what you're passionate about, and you're wanting to move in a different direction. So it's kind of that energy of, like, you may work for a company where there's multiple different departments, and, you know, the department that you're in, you're like, oh yeah, this is fine, but really you actually want to work in that other department over there and be doing what they're doing. Just as a bit of an example here, Gemini, and I feel like part of the mask that you're wearing is because you're good at wearing that mask, like you're good at doing that department, but you want to try something else. Gemini, what does Gemini need to know in regard to their shadow work this month, please? Whoa. Okay, that was a card flying across the room there. Interesting. I did see that card on the bottom of the deck before I started shuffling, and now it's come out for you as well. The card that flew across the room, we have the Clover, jumping in the deep end, Gemini, you know, and quite literally jumping, you know, it jumped across the room. So it's a big, bold move that you're wanting to take, but it obviously will involve some risk, and or, you know, you're taking a big chance on yourself in order to follow this path. That is kind of actually one of the things about this full moon. All right, that's exactly why, you know, we see the full moon in Sagittarius. This is Sagittarius's card in the lenormand. All right, so that is why we see that as Sagittarius's card, because it's, you know, gaining the clarity and knowledge to, you know, take a leap of faith. And the universe is really wanting you to take that leap of faith right here, to reinvent yourself, to challenge the old ways of thinking and launch, like quite literally, you know, launch into things and commit to new pathways for yourself. So, you know, for those of you who did watch the intro, that was the words I have written here on my notes. Launch into things, commit to new pathways. So, the card quite literally launched itself out of the deck for you here. And, Gemini, you are one of the signs a little bit more affected by this particular full moon. So this is going to be feeling like, a big call to action for you throughout this full moon period. To launch yourself into the void, that there, there's no going back. We see the void coming through next. It's like you feel like there's this gravitational pull dragging you into this. So for some of you, I do actually want to grab clarity on that void card, because quite often that is a negative energy, but it's not actually feeling like that right here. So I just want to clarify what exactly that void energy is trying to tell us. Yeah, we see the lily clarifying that. So there's definitely, it's kind of the void, the darkness within, that little voice in the back of your head that says, do this, do that. A little bit here, the void is deep down within you, the void of, and it's coming from your darkness. So it's coming from, if you're actually completely open and honest with yourself, that there's something deep down inside of you that is, dragging you in. And if you don't pay attention, that you're not going to take this leap of faith. With the lily there, this is something that is inspiring long-term changes in your life. It is inspiring, maybe that's why it's in the void, because it's something that, you're having to break free from something that has been in your life for a very long time in order to take this jump. And, it feels like a leap into, darkness where you don't know what's down in the depths of that. So it is quite a jump that we're making here, but it's a jump from here until forever kind of thing. It's a big thing. It's not just a little thing. But with the lily clarifying that void, the lily is trusting your own morals, and it's a kindness to oneself to have the lily come through here. It is a kindness to yourself to allow yourself to jump deep into the darkness, even if you don't know. So for a lot of you, this is like conquering a fear as well, that there's this fear of the unknown that you're jumping directly into, deep into here. So, but I do just pick up for quite a lot of you that there is something here about work stuff for a lot of you. And it's about taking off that mask, that you don't need to hide that darkness within. It's about, shadow work is really about integrating the darkness and, collaborating with the darker sides of oneself, taking control of the darkness so that the darkness cannot control you. All right. So this is something coming, from deep within you. This is kind of giving the energy of like, for a lot of you, this is something along the lines of like something that you have always felt was wrong, a negative thing about yourself, or a negative want or desire that you have. I'm just trying to think of a good example here. Just random, out of nowhere kind of example, but the darkness within is telling you to, go and drink alcohol. All right. And a lot of people will see that as a negative thing, to go and get drunk and drink all different types of alcohol, and drink. But it's like you have this control over the void, where maybe the reason that you're needing to jump deep into that is so that then you can gain understanding, so that you can be an alcohol counselor, or that maybe you're destined to create your own alcohol and become, a famous alcohol seller or maker. So I know that that's just a really off-center example here, but this is kind of something about what this is. It's something that you tell yourself is a bad thing, and you're turning it into your thing, something good for you. Like, just because this is bad for others doesn't mean that this is not good for you. And no shade on you, Gemini, but this is actually coming through. Another example that I'm wanting to share here, and definitely no shade on my Gemini collective, right? Because I do not include this person in my Gemini collective on the channel. But the Orange Man is a Gemini. All right, so look at all the things that he has done that are coming from a place of void energy, dark energies, and he has turned them into something, that has worked for him. We're not saying that it's worked for an entire country or an entire world, although a lot of people out there would believe that it has. I personally believe that if you're watching my channel, you are probably on a similar wavelength with the level of appreciation or non-appreciation for this person. But like the famous history person. I don't want to say the names, all right, because I nearly just said it then. I don't want to say the names because YouTube has a way of getting antsy about certain things, but there was a certain historical figure with a very well-known little mustache. Morally, not our thing, right? But there are certain advancements within that came out from that, especially scientific advancements and things like that, all right, that may never, they would have taken hundreds of years for certain discoveries to be made if it hadn't have been for the research that had been done during that time. Not saying that was in any way, shape, or form a good thing, but it was somebody harnessing the darkness for their own gain, I suppose. So I'm not using these as examples of what you should go and do something like that. But it's kind of just showing you that I would never want anyone to do anything to that level, but it's just showing you that sometimes there is a certain harnessing of darkness that can be achieved. It doesn't change the fact that darkness is darkness. It always will be dark. But it's people in control of that darkness and utilizing that darkness that, is kind of the message I'm trying to get at here. So I don't want to, offend anyone or upset anyone with what I'm saying, but I hope you understand what I am saying here, that it's, I'm not sending any ill will or not promoting or supporting any of that. I'm just talking about the way that certain people in history have harnessed their darkness and made it work for them. In the case of history, it has not necessarily been for the good of all. It's been for the good of them, but not for the good of all. So that's kind of the extreme example. All right. Like I said, another example would be that alcohol example. So, we also see the birds coming through. It's just, it's just turning those negative qualities about oneself into things that can be utilized. So, even in a smaller example, for my own self, as when I was young, I was always told things like, Michelle, you talk too much. You talk too much. And, now what am I doing? I'm talking too much. But I hope it's for the right cause, right? Um, but I turned that into something that works for me. You know, I still talk too much, but that's neither here nor there. The birds, it's kind of with the birds here. Usually this does talk about significant conversations taking place. It can talk about, for some of you, advice like therapy advice may be significant here as well in how to turn this around for yourself and how to jump in the deep end here and embrace the void, embrace the darkness a little bit here. But I'm also getting like a flurry of activity. You can kind of see the birds are all sort of fluttering around here. And quite often the birds does carry with it a lot of like excitement. And it's like a chitter chatter. You know how like a flock of birds will make a lot of noise and it's like a flurry of excitement. That's what I'm getting here is this flurry of excitement, like a lot of things happening all at once. And so it's kind of like a lot of movement being created from you doing your shadow work this month and from you embracing the shadow this month, sort of diving in the depths of the darkness here and taking off that mask and being very honest and truthful with yourself about your darkness and working out how to use that for you rather than against you. So I hope that helps in some kind of a way, Gemini. I know that may have gone on a bit of a tangent there and gone a little bit off the rails, but I do hope that there is something in there that is significant for you with this shadow work period. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course, especially your moon sign being the full moon. And we will move on over to our Cancers. Okay, Cancer, what is going on for Cancer for shadow work this month? Shadow work messages for our Cancer. All right, looking for the shadow work theme for Cancer. A bit of a rough one. This one's always rough every time I come through across this card. We have victim consciousness coming through here. All right, so this is, accepting and noticing and accepting the places in our life in which we play the victim rather than playing the survivor, where we place blame on others, which, it's always one of those things too that it's like never want to detract from the fact that yes, you may be the victim in the situation. Yes, there may be somebody else to blame, but holding on to the blame and holding on to blame and anger and this victim consciousness hurts you more than it hurts, the perpetrator of that. So that's why this sort of comes up when it does come up, because it's very muchly wanting you to have a look at the perception really that you are seeing, especially trauma throughout your life here, that, this was done to me, that happened to me, rather than I survived this, I survived that. Like I turned that into something I wanted to learn from that and be better than that. I'm getting a lot of personal messages coming through today to try to share things with you from my personal life to use as sort of examples. It's definitely coming through strong today, Cancer. But so I do hope that everyone gets sick of hearing all about my life and my past. But I am being sort of shown examples here from my own life where I have been through a lot of traumatic experiences when I was young, and it would be very easy for me to blame the adult because I was a child. So it would be very easy for me to blame an adult that was in that situation for they let that happen to me, which, that is true, but that is kind of not how I look at it. I kind of look at it as though now that I'm an adult, I strive to do better and not be an adult that would allow that to happen to another person, especially a child. You know what I mean? So rather than using these things that an adult may have done to me or allowed happen to me, I use those as examples to myself of what I do not want to be. Of as long as I'm not doing that, I know I'm a better person than they were. So rather than sitting here in an energy of blame, 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 oh, everything's so horrible because this happened to me. Yes, it was horrible, and yes, it did happen to me, but I don't allow myself to hold myself back from, like, allow that to hold any control over me. Just because that happened to me, I don't want that to control any part of me. I go out of my way to, do better than that and to not allow that to continue to affect me. So I've had to do a lot of work to overcome those things and make sure that they're not affecting me negatively. And it's a journey. There's always things that pop up here and there that, and if you've lived a life with a lot of trauma, you probably feel the same way, that as soon as you've dealt with one thing, you realize that there's another trauma hiding just underneath the surface of that as well. So there's always another one to start dealing with straight away. But because they do have, it's like rolling a ball down a hill, rolling a moss ball down a hill. It gathers so much along the way that by the time it hits the bottom, it's a gigantic ball, rather than the initial thing was this big and now it's this big, and so now you're having to work back through all these layers to get rid of all of those instead of just the initial thing. So TLDR, stop blaming others, stop playing the victim. Not to be harsh about it, Cancer, it can be difficult to pull yourself out of that, but it's about using that experience to, it's just even that simple rewording a lot of the time. And first card that came out, the Mirror, looking deep at yourself here, and the way that you being very honest, looking yourself in the mirror and being very honest about the way that you are. Certain things in your life that you are sort of still in that victim consciousness, and allowing those things to stop you, and allowing those things to still affect your energy now, because those things, like something that happened 10 years ago, all right, if you're still allowing that to, you're still telling yourself, oh, this horrible thing happened to me. This horrible thing happened to me. Everyone was so bad in that situation. This horrible thing happened to me. I don't know how, I'm supposed to get over this. And you're still rolling it around in your head continually, day after day after day, and you're not actually working on surviving that. Have you really survived? Have you're still allowing that energy to control you. It's still in your life every single day, because you're not taking control of that energy and saying, no, I survived that. And yes, I accept that happened. Yes, that happened. Yes, I was the victim, but it's time for me to choose better for myself, choose to survive that. You're giving too much power to that. All right, so it's time to sort of be very, very honest with yourself, and look at yourself deep in the mirror, both the light and the dark sides of yourself here, and bring them into balance a little bit more. all right? And I do want to say, for a lot of you, you were innocent, all right? And allow yourself to remind yourself that you were innocent. You were the victim, especially of those of you where you were a child. Okay, we have the child coming through there as well. Children are innocent, regardless, you know. With the child coming out, you were innocent. And I said that before I even drew that card. The child does talk about innocence, all right? And, you know, so looking yourself in the mirror and seeing that sweet, innocent little child that still exists within you and allowing that child to come out into the light, accepting that, yes, there is darkness there, but I choose to live in the light. I choose to allow that child hope and freedom and, you know, sense of wonder that there could be better, there could be light. It doesn't always have to be darkness here in victim mentalities, all right? We do also see the clover coming through for you here, which in this particular reading has been signifying the Sagittarius full moon pretty heavily, messages here too, because it's taking a leap of faith and, you know, trusting that things will work out okay. Things will be okay. All right. Taking a leap of faith here and trusting that it is okay to walk a new path. It is okay to, you know, consider new perspectives and look at things in new ways and, you know, move away from the situation and look at the bigger picture. All right. Because think about, if you went, you know, if you were talking to somebody and they were telling you your life story as if it was theirs, you know, you would not blame them. So why do you blame yourself? You would not, you know, you would not see them as a victim. You would see them as a, wow, oh my gosh, I can't believe you, like, so amazing that you survived and that you're still here with us today. So it's time for you to start looking yourself in the mirror and saying that to yourself as well, Cancer. All right, it's time to take a leap of faith, to take a chance on yourself. All right, and on that sweet little child within. Okay, so sorry that was such a confronting / deep message for you there, Cancer, but that's what we are seeing for you. You are, of course, more than welcome to check out your other placements there, especially your moon sign being the full moon, and we will move on over to our Leos. Okay, Leo. Shadow work messages for our Leos. Theme of the month, inner child, Leo. Oh, this sweet little innocent angel part of you. Bringing that little child out to play a little bit this month, Leo. Frolic. I don't know why, but I really keep getting the word frolic a lot lately, like go and frolic in the grass. And then I've been like, oh, pardon me, just like it was a weird little it wasn't a burp, it was just like a little weird intake of breath. A reverse burp, if you will. I don't know what that means, but okay. Excuse me, pardon me, Leo. I keep getting this energy of like frolic in the grass, and then I have been hearing the word frolic in things lately. Like I was watching some random video the other day, and I heard the word frolic, and so I don't know what it is about frolicking. For you, I'm actually seeing like a dog frolicking in the grass with, you know, dancing around with flowers. So I don't know what that is all about, Leo, but let's have a look here for your shadow work message. Leo's shadow work message, please. What does Leo need to know in regard to their shadow work this month? I'm actually just kind of feeling like you are the sign that is getting it easy this month. I do generally have, there's usually one sign every month that does sort of cop it easily and doesn't have to do the shadow work. You're kind of the skipping out sign this month. So, you know, I think everyone deserves a break, right? And this month seems to be yours, Leo. You're the chosen ones this month, okay? And even what I'm seeing here, it's relative, relatively and basic stuff. It's not necessarily any huge big drama shadow work stuff. If you want the huge big shadow work to go and delve into, check your moon sign, all right, Leo, because we have had some heavy messages today. All right, so some very deep stuff has been coming up today. You're, like I said, you're getting off lightly. We see the letter coming through first in regard to the way that you communicate, the way that you express. We see the lily there, so we would be looking at emotional expression, intimacy, like levels of intimacy and vulnerability, and the way that you communicate and express your vulnerabilities. So trying to release the inner child a little bit more and releasing those vulnerabilities the way that a child would. All right. So not having this fear of, oh, what will someone think of me? Or, is it normal to think like this or feel this way? No, this is kind of, to be honest, this is like freedom to go and have a tantrum completely, so because we want you to be expressing yourself, especially your emotions, the way that children would, so they frolic in the grass with dogs. If you feel happy, go and frolic, Leo. If you feel sad, go and cry. If you're cranky and you just want to stomp your feet, just stomp your little feet, Leo. It's your month where you can do so. All right. Express yourself honestly and openly. And, it's a kindness to your own self. And it's, this is a card of longevity and good health as well. So for a lot of you, expressing yourself clearly and honestly and having that little tanty is actually going to be good for your health. So there you go. You've got to do it. We do also see the call to adventure coming through for you here too. The ship is coming out for you as well, Leo. So I did mention in the intro that being the Sagittarius full moon, that this is a call to adventure and travel and spending time outdoors for a lot of people. So, but then, interestingly enough, that is followed by the sentence I've written in my notes here. Letting out what's been building within us, expressing yourself, breaking free from your routines, and conquering your fears of the unknown. So, that's definitely what we're seeing here for you this month, Leo. Definitely maybe wanting to spend some time outdoors, frolicking. Go and frolic, Leo. Leo, come back next week. I want to hear from you. Where did you go and frolic? Tell me about your frolicking adventure. All right. I want to know if Michelle says, Leo, go and frolic, what are you doing? All right. Do you have a dog you can go frolic in the garden with flowers around you in the fields? Do you have, like, what's that scene out of The Sound of Music where she's frolicking through the fields, singing loudly. What is it? Is that even the scene where she's like yodeling or something? Oh my gosh. Why is yodeling? Yodeling is another thing that's been coming up lately too. Express your little child self. Go, be playful. This is actually really cute because one of my Leo besties, actually, she showed me the little the dinosaur thing, because I was talking about the I'm a snake, I'm a silly little snake video from way back, and how it's like a thing, and she showed me the dinosaur one where it's like dinosaur rawr. So if you want to do some dinosaur rawrs and some sneaky little snakes and whatever, have fun. Have fun this month, Leo. It's your month to frolic, yeah? Get back to me on that. I'm eager to hear about the frolicking, all right? But that's what we have for you, Leo. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, especially your moon sign, like I said, if you're wanting something a bit deeper. But we'll leave it there for you, and we will move on over to the Virgos. Okay, going to move on over to our Virgos. Virgo, what is going on for Virgo this month? Okay, shadow work messages for our Virgos. Now, Virgo, you are one of the signs being a little bit most affected this month with the full moon. And straight away, your theme of the month is kind of showing that already, because we do have the victim consciousness card coming through. All right, so this is going to be confronting, not going to lie, Virgo. All right. Where in your life are you playing the victim? Where in your life are you allowing yourself to be the victim? Okay, so sometimes we don't even intentionally play the victim. You know, it's a subconscious thing that, we've gone through something, we've had a certain experience, and we can, we're only human. We can only see it from our own point of view. This particular month, this full moon, look at me grabbing my notes so I can actually reread part of the intro for you here, Virgo, because this particular month, it is about taking in the bigger picture. All right. Clarity and knowledge, opening yourself up to new ways to move through your life, stepping back to consider the bigger picture, lessons in perspective. All right. Challenging the old ways of thinking. Breaking free from that which is comfortable in a lot of ways, Virgo. And I feel like that's what this victim consciousness stuff is all about. It's, something that has become so comfortable for you, a way of thinking that you're just so used to thinking that way that it is hard to break free from that. And this full moon is asking you to sort of look at that with complete honesty with yourself, and challenge that way of thinking, and try to see things from other perspectives. And it's not even other perspectives, but it's the bigger picture, the objective perspective. All right. So if you take yourself and your emotions out of the situation, then how do we look at that situation? All right. And not to say that you aren't the victim in these scenarios, Virgo, because, quite a lot of the time, victim consciousness is created because we were a victim. But, blaming others, even if they are to blame, and, playing that role of victim, this happened to me, that happened to me, this, was my experience, is dwelling on that, and giving power to that, and allowing that to, not be a past energy, but to be a present energy that still has control over you today and tomorrow. All right. Whereas we need to sort of learn and embrace new perspectives in order to move past these things, learn from those, past things that we have been through, whether that is to learn to be better within ourselves, to do better, ourselves, or whether that is to not allow ourselves to be subjugated to those same situations again in the future, to start to see ourselves as the survivor rather than the victim. All right, so it's time to really, really be honest with yourself about that victim mindset. All right, but having a look here, Virgo, shadow work energy for our Virgos. We did just have one card fly out already, Virgo. Which was the goat. You rebellious little devil, you. That is the card of rebellion, all right? And that is the card of being very stubborn, butting heads, wanting to be a drama rather than, finding ways to get along. You're wanting to be the drama. You're wanting to go full charge ahead and just butt into the wall, even if it's a brick wall and you're never going to break it down. You're just going to keep on repeatedly running and into that wall, Virgo. And that's pretty much what that victim consciousness does do to you. And for a lot of you, it becomes obsessive. That for a lot of you, I feel like there is a tinge of obsessiveness that has now come into this, that it's kind of like you're obsessed with being the victim of the situation. You know, there's some, even if you're not, there is a strong temptation of obsession, or dealing with things in addictive ways. All right, the goat energy here can be very similar to the devil card in tarot, and it embraces all those sorts of things like obsession, temptation, addiction, and all those sorts of qualities. All right. It can be something that is quite, I want to say, sinful for some of you here as well, but impulsive, and once again, it's just wanting to be the problem rather than, rather than to fix the problem and to be better than the problem. You embrace being the problem. So once again, a lot of honesty necessary here. We do see the clouds coming through for you here as well. So for a lot of you, this is you, kind of spiraling, like now, the goat, as it joins into this clouds energy, the goat's horns grow. And you know how sometimes they, like ram's horns and goat's horns, they go in those big giant spirals. It's spiraling out of control. And do you know what happens sometimes when they spiral out of control? They grow down into the goat itself and hurt the goat more than help it. It no longer becomes something in which the goat can protect itself. It then becomes something that is actually hurting the goat, hindering the goat, getting the goat stuck on trees and stuck in fences rather than actually being a protective element for the goat. All right. And that's kind of what is going on here with your mindset and your thought processes, that you're allowing your thoughts to spiral out of control. And it's the obsessive thought that's happening here, that you're obsessing over things that have happened in the past, and especially the way that this was done to me. And you're allowing that to spiral out and create so much anger and rage and panic for someone here too. Panic is coming through. And it's not the fun kind of panic like at the disco. It's full on, full blown panic. Like I'm stuck in the fence and I can't escape, and pulling myself free ends up hurting me even more. So you're actually hurting yourself seriously here, Virgo, and the way that your thoughts are spiraling out of control, it's confusing you more and more and more, and you're going down these deep, dark little rabbit holes in your mindset here. And it's getting out of control. All right, it's moving over into serious anxiety issues, depressive issues, and those sorts of things. It is starting to spiral out of control. It does really feel that way, Virgo. I'm sorry once again to be so confronting, but I just read the energies as they're presented. We do though see the garden. All right, so there is a way out of this. We For those of you who are getting a little bit obsessive, get off social media, get off the social media stuff, all right? Because this is about to go very public. It's about to go public. The garden is the card of public and social. So whether this is social events, an event that's taking place where this goes public, this energy of yours here is going public. I'm picking that up strongly, that's kind of the worst case scenario for you here, Virgo, is that this mindset goes public and is revealed to everyone around you, maybe even on a greater level than that. So just be very wary of that energy there, Virgo. But the garden does give us a way to escape this. All right, it gives us a way to have a release, to meet up with people and meet up with other perspectives and take those on board, to compromise, all right, to see the bigger picture and work out a compromise, a balance, to ask others, seek people to help you, seek friends to spend time with you, and take your mind out of this energy and focus on other things, on having fun and getting out there, and getting out of the house and spending time with people outside the normal, and meet new people, meet new people and new perspectives, and especially something about meeting new people altogether, that maybe there's something to do here with, the people that are currently in your life. They are allowing this whirlwind to continue with you. They're allowing you to spiral, and they're, not forcing you to change. Whereas, getting out there and meeting new people quite often forces you to change, and if not change, it forces you to at least meet each other, people, like meet others halfway, all right, and refocus, I feel, for a lot of you here, Virgo. So that is what we're seeing for you. Like I said, though, it does come with a bit of a warning for you this month, Virgo. And this is a heavy, like I said, a heavy month for you with the shadow work, not going to lie, as you can already tell with what we've just discussed. But, go easy on yourself, Virgo. That's what we're seeing for you, though. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements. Definitely your moon sign as well, being that it's the full moon. Subscribe to the channel. We will have a look at what's going on for Libra. Okay, Libra, shadow work messages for our Libra. What does Libra need to know in regard to shadow work this month? Shadow work for our Libra. Theme of the month for Libra. Say what you mean and mean what you say, Libra. No more hiding in the shadows, Libra. No more trying to give people hints. Just say it. Just say it outright. I have been referring back to the notes from the intro that I was discussing what this full moon is about, and I'm going to do so again for you here, Libra. All right, so letting out what has been building within us, expressing ourselves, breaking free from routine, opening yourself up to the new. All right, staying curious, making permanent changes, reinvention, challenging the old ways of thinking. All right, so instead of just presuming that people know what you mean, you need to be a little bit more open and honest, express yourself a little bit more in a very clear, concise kind of a way this month or this shadow work period, Libra. And it's about saying what you mean. And I do feel that for some of you, there is this message here about, if you want to say what you mean, you actually need to stop before you say anything and actually really think about, what is the message I'm trying to get across here? All right. What am I trying to get across here? What is what do I actually mean? And, sometimes once you realize that, well, I'm saying all these things, but what I actually mean is XYZ, well, maybe I should just say XYZ. I feel like that might really just that small shift in perspective of the way that you're thinking and talking about things. If you take that into consideration, you may find things getting a lot clearer, a lot quicker. Libra, shadow work messages for our Libra, please. What does Libra need to know in regard to shadow work this month? Tying yourself up in knots. We see the whip coming through first. Look at that, all tied up in knots there. And this is conquering your fear of arguing and the fear of conflicts and arguments, the fear of tension, because you're kind of like, if I say what I really mean, it's just going to start a fight. If I say what I really mean, they're going to think I just want to fight. But have you tried it? I'm getting that, but did you die? But did you die? So, you didn't die, so it's not the worst case scenario here, Libra. Sometimes we need to start that argument and start that conflict, because maybe the best solution and the best way forward is moving through conflict and getting things, to a much better point where we both actually are saying what we truly mean, you know. So sometimes the conflict is actually necessary, but it's you. I feel like for a lot of you, it's you saying what you mean and conquering your fear of tension by saying what you mean. I feel like that's why you hold back a lot, Libra, is because you are worried that you're going to upset somebody or somebody's going to misunderstand, or you know, they're more likely to misunderstand if you're not being very clear with what you're telling them. You know, if you're being very clear, there can be no misunderstandings. Sometimes it might be a harsh truth that needs to be heard. All right, because that's what I'm getting from you, Libra. Like, it really feels like harsh truth, rather, and that's why you're worried it's going to start a fight, because you know that what you're saying is harsh, but do you know what? It is also the truth. So you know the tension, the drama may actually be necessary here. We do see the masculine coming through here as well. So this is keeping the emotions out of it and just saying what you mean, not saying what you feel, saying what you mean. All right. So not saying this makes me feel like that, saying, no, this is what I'm talking about. We're not putting emotions into it, because quite a lot of the time emotions, you know, especially when we're entering into conflicts and things like that, emotions leaves space for um, unintentional energy, or it leaves space for negotiation, or it leaves space for, oh, you're just crazy, Libra, which if anyone ever says that to you, smack them for me, all right? Um, personal hatred for that phrase. I'm not going to lie, being treated like you're crazy when you know you're not. It's a fun life, guys. I'm with you there, Libra. Don't you worry. It's just being very rational and logical and doing things, you know, in very clear, concise ways. All right. The masculine energy, it doesn't pussyfoot around an issue. It faces it very directly. All right. Even if it's a confrontational directedness, it's direct. All right. We do see the mountain coming through here as well. Persevere. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again, Libra. Persevere with what you're doing this month, and yourself, and saying what you actually mean. Persevere. Be determined to have what you want to say be understood. So therefore, say it in the clearest, most concise way you can. And, you know, say exactly, this is exactly what I mean. XYZ. You can you know, it definitely will bring, you know, challenges for a lot of you. I feel like the challenge is just overcoming your own hesitancy for a lot of you here. That's the main challenge, and your own you know, slipping back into old patterns with you. This feels like it's something new for a lot of you here, Libra. You know, kind of standing up for yourself in a new kind of way, doing things in a totally different kind of way than what you have before. I do feel that for a lot of you, this is brand new. So, you know, it makes sense that you're going to slip backwards at times, or fall back into the old way of saying things. But, you know, persevere, you know, keep on going, and you will get there, and you will, you know, get to that sense of achievement at the top of that mountain, rather than being stuck. All right, it will actually the view is worth the climb when it comes to that mountain energy. All right, Libra. So keep climbing. Okay, so that's what we're seeing for you this month. You are, of course, more than welcome to check out your other placements, especially your moon sign being the full moon. Make sure to subscribe, and we will move on over to our Scorpios. Scorpio, what is going on for our Scorpios this full moon? Last but not definitely not the least, this full moon, Scorpio. We started first with you last month, your last this month. Scorpio. So we have had some very heavy messages. See how things go for our Scorpios. Theme of the month for Scorpio. What does Scorpio need to know in regard to shadow work this full moon, please? Love. Love. Got the love energy for you, Scorpio. It feels like a sore spot for a couple of you, not gonna lie. For some of you, this is more, this is all aspects of love, It's not just romantic love. It's not just self-love. It's not just platonic love. It's not just love for the universe and the nature and, it's all of it. I feel like this is a bit of a struggle for you at the moment, Scorpio. All of the above. Loving life, loving yourself, loving others, loving the world, it's a bit of a struggle right now. And that's why this is coming through as your shadow work, I suppose. But let's have a look at the lenormand for you. Scorpio. Scorpio, what's going on for Scorpio this full moon, please? Shadow work messages for our Scorpios. Oh my gosh. Scorpio. Me and this card have a personal issues, right? Not gonna lie. And the universe has got jokes because it's following it up with my card as well. I do have quite a few Scorpio placements, actually. I do have a lot of Scorpios in my life as well. Remembering that the theme of the shadow work is love, Scorpio. And what is shadow work? Shadow work is bringing out the darker parts of ourselves, the parts that we try to hide from, in order to, control the darkness rather than letting the darkness control us. All right, we get those demons working for us instead of against us. Yeah. So there's a bit of a demon coming up for you this month when it comes to love. For a lot of you, it's like that little voice in the back of your head. You don't deserve love. You don't want love. You don't, but the demon within is fear. All right. So the demon that's coming up here, Scorpio, that's trying to tell you, Scorpio, you don't deserve love. It's not that you don't deserve love. You have a fear of what if you actually do deserve love? What does that mean? What does that mean? We see the hourglass coming through first, followed by the mountain. It's time to start climbing, Scorpio. It's time to put in the work. It's time to persevere, get through this challenge. I do feel like for a lot of you, this love in general has been a bit of an obstacle for you for probably a little while now. And it's been a challenge. It's been the insurmountable issue in front of you that you just don't know how to overcome. It's time. It's time to just start climbing. It's time to start putting in a little bit more effort to be honest with yourself about your emotions to start with, and to be honest with yourself about that demon that's coming up here, that it's not that, like, it's telling you this about love, all right? So whatever your little demon is telling you about the idea of love, about your worthiness of love, about if you even want love, what love means. Think about what that little demon is telling you. Think about what fear that represents within you. That's where the work is needed. Okay, Scorpio, there's a fear coming up within you that you're needing to conquer. It's like, you've got to conquer Everest right now. I'm not going to lie, that's what this is. You're conquering Mount Everest. Look, there's the mountain. It's time to put the work in. It's time. It's time to face your fears. It's time to start the climb. And to start to love yourself as well. We have the feminine here as well, Scorpio. Emotions, facing those emotions and being honest about what they are, what they mean, the fears that are attached to those emotions, conquering those fears, and supporting and nurturing yourself and nurturing all things love within yourself. All right, so I actually want you, Scorpio, to go to your moon sign and watch that as well, because I do feel that for a lot of you Scorpios, there's two specific signs that got the same card, that a lot of you have that as your moon sign. So you will go and watch that reading, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. I can't remember the first one now, but it was Virgo and Cancer, maybe. There's a softness in the way that you need to approach yourself right now as well. All right, it's the feminine is about love. The feminine loves love. The feminine moves in love rather than from brain space. The feminine comes, follows their heart, not their head. And you kind of needing to put in the work to ask yourself what truly lies within your heart here, around all things love and the things that you want to change, because this full moon is specifically about clarity and knowledge, reflecting on what you do know about love and what you don't know about love, what you still need or want to learn. All right, so open yourself up to considering new ways to move through life. So lessons in perspective, making permanent changes, challenging the old ways of thinking. All right, committing to new ways of thinking and trying. All right, so we do also have the Child on the bottom of the deck here as well, Scorpio. So, start to just find enjoyment in love as well. Find the enjoyment in love rather than the negative things that love has told you. That little demon inside you keeps crawling up there trying to talk about all these negative, horrible things about love. But there's a freedom, there's a innocence, there's a naivety, there's a fun element when it comes to love. So try to focus in on those things, and that really will help you get through this period. Keep the flame alive, Scorpio. All right, don't stop. Now I'm hearing that. Don't stop believing. I don't know what song that is. There's a few songs I think that have got similar sort of things, but the one I'm hearing is like a really old song actually. And I don't think that's just like a random little bit in the song. I would not have a clue what that song is. It might be significant to someone there, but it's asking you to not stop believing in love and not stop believing that, like I said right at the start there, Scorpio, like what happens if you do deserve it? What would that mean? You've already prepared yourself for what would happen if you don't deserve love, and if it's not for you, and if love is shit, you know. But what happens if love is not shit? What happens if you do deserve love? What happens if love is just around the corner for you? What happens if that person that you're thinking of could be love? Scorpio, I'll leave that with you. You're more than welcome to check those moon signs or other placements, of course. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all again soon.